In the farthest reaches of space, there were trillions of eyes watching. They were not human eyes. They belonged to many different species from many different worlds. Some had eyes like insects with hundreds of lenses. Some had eyes that could see heat, while others could see colors that humans had never even named. But right now, all of them were looking at the same screens. This was the Galactic stream. It was the most popular show in the universe. A powerful group called the Grand Galactic Synod ran it. They traveled from star to star. When they found a new world with intelligent life, they turned on their cameras. The whole galaxy watched to see what would happen. Usually it was the same story. The aliens would land. The primitive creatures on the ground would see the big ships and the bright lights. They would scream. They would run. They would fall to their knees and beg for mercy. It was boring for the viewers, but it was safe. Today, the stream promised something new. They had found a blue planet. It was small and far away from the center of the galaxy. The natives called it Earth. The Grand Galactic Synod sent their best ship, called the Vindicator. It was a massive vessel, shaped like a perfect silver spear. It floated in the darkness above the Earth. On the bridge of the ship stood the Vex commander. The Vex were tall, thin creatures covered in shiny metal armor. They did not have mouths, but they spoke with their minds. They thought they were the greatest civilization in the stars. The commander looked down at the blue world. He felt nothing but pride. He thought this would be an easy day. Start the broadcast, the commander thought to his crew. Let the galaxy see us. Suddenly, in every corner of the Earth, screens changed. Televisions in busy coffee shops flickered. Phones in people's pockets buzzed. Computers in office buildings went black. Then a face appeared. It was the Vex commander. His face was smooth and silver with eyes that glowed red. A voice boomed out of the speakers. It spoke in every language at once. It spoke English, Korean, Spanish, and thousands of others. "People of Earth," the voice said. It was loud and deep. It shook the windows. "We are the Vex. We are the masters of this galaxy. Look up at the sky. You are not alone. You are small. You are weak. Lay down your weapons. Bow to us. If you surrender, we will let you live. If you fight, you will be destroyed." The galaxy held its breath. Trillions of aliens leaned closer to their screens. They wanted to see the fear. They wanted to see the humans cry. They waited for the panic to start. On the ground, in a radar station near the coast, a man named Roy sat in a chair. He was young, with dark hair and tired eyes. He held a cup of cold coffee in his hand. When the screen on his desk changed to the alien face, he didn't drop his cup. He didn't scream. He just took a sip of the coffee and made a face. "Hey, Lee," Roy said. He didn't sound scared. He sounded annoyed. "You need to come look at this. I think the satellite TV is broken again." Lee walked into the room. He was the commander of the station. He was an older man, strong and calm. He wore a uniform that had seen many years of service. He looked at the screen. He saw the silver alien face. He saw the massive red dot on the radar that was bigger than anything they had ever seen. Lee raised an eyebrow. "That is not the TV, Roy," Lee said calmly. "That is a ship." "A ship?" Roy asked. He typed on his keyboard. "It is huge. It is the size of a city. And it is just sitting there." Lee crossed his arms. "They say they want us to bow," Lee said. He listened to the alien voice repeat the threat. He did not feel afraid. He felt something else. He felt a headache coming on. "I have paperwork to finish," Lee said. "I do not have time to bow to shiny metal robots." Roy laughed a little. "What should we do, sir? Should we tell the government?" "Call the Air Force," Lee said. "Tell them to send a patrol, just to see what these visitors want." High in the sky, a woman named Kim was flying her fighter jet. The sky was clear and blue. She loved flying. It was peaceful up here. She was just thinking about landing and getting some lunch when her radio cracked. It was a loud, strange noise. Then the alien voice came through her headset. Bow to us, the voice said. You are weak. Kim looked down. Below her she saw the ocean. But above the clouds she saw a shadow. It was the Vindicator. It was so big it looked like it was touching the sun. Kim gripped the controls tight. Her knuckles turned white. Weak? She said to herself. She checked her sensors. The ship had shields. It had guns. It looked very scary. But Kim didn't care. She was a human. She didn't like being told what to do, especially by a stranger. This is my airspace, Kim said. She pushed the throttle forward. Her jet roared like a beast. She didn't fly away. She flew straight at the alien ship. Back on the bridge of the Vindicator, the Vex commander watched the radar. A small, fast object was moving toward them. It is a primitive craft, the second-in-command thought. It uses chemical explosions to fly? It is made of scrap metal. Should we shoot it down? No, the commander thought. Wait, let it see our power. It will turn away. But the jet did not turn away. Kim flew closer. She saw the shiny silver hull of the alien ship. She saw the glowing lights. It was beautiful, but it made her angry. They were blocking her view of the sun. They were threatening her home. Let's see how you like this, Kim said. She didn't fire her weapons. She wasn't ready to start a war yet. Instead, she did something very rude. She flew her jet fast right in front of the alien ship's main window. She tipped her wings. Then she turned her plane upside down and flew right over their bridge, very close. The sound of her engine broke the sound barrier with a loud boom. The shock wave hit the alien ship. The bridge shook. The Vex crew stumbled. They had never felt anything like that. It was not a laser. It was just speed and noise. In the galaxy, the viewers were confused. The chat rooms on the stream went crazy. They saw the primitive plane attack the advanced ship. Is it trying to crash? One alien wrote. No, another said. It is. Taunting them. Down on the ground, Roy watched the blip on the radar move fast. Whoa, Roy said. That is Kim. She is flying right over their heads. Lee smiled a small, sharp smile. Good, Lee said. She is showing them we are not afraid. The Vex commander was not happy now. His face stayed still, but his red eyes glowed brighter. He did not understand. Why were they not screaming? Why were they not running? The galaxy usually watched civilizations fall in fear. But this Earth, these humans, they were different. Send a scout ship, the commander ordered. Teach them a lesson. 3 small black drones dropped out of the bottom of the big ship. They were sleek and silent. They flew toward Kim's jet. They locked their weapons onto her. Kim saw the drones on her radar. 3 against 1? She said. Not fair. She didn't care about fair. She pulled back on the stick. The jet climbed straight up, rolling as it went. The drones fired green lasers. The lasers missed her jet by inches. They burned holes in the clouds. In the radar station, Roy stood up. They are firing. They are firing on Kim. Lee slammed his hand on the desk. Call the base, he shouted. Scramble the whole squadron. Tell the ground forces to get ready. If they want a fight, we will give them a fight. The galaxy watched in amazement. The primitive humans were fighting back. The small jet was dancing around the advanced drones. The humans on the ground were running, but they were not running away. They were running to their positions. They were picking up guns. They were looking up at the sky with anger, not fear. The Vex commander realized his mistake. He thought the show would be boring. He thought it would be a quick victory. But as he watched the little plane evade his best drones, he felt a strange feeling. It was a feeling he had not felt in a long time. It was the feeling of uncertainty. Lee looked at the screen where the alien face was still repeating its message. He walked over to the camera that was connected to the radar station's outgoing line. Turn this thing on, Lee said to Roy. Roy flipped a switch. The red light on the camera turned on. Lee looked into the lens. He didn't shout. He didn't beg. He just spoke clearly. This is Earth Commander Lee, he said. You interrupted our day. You threatened our people. If you want a war, you have one. But don't think we will bow. We don't bow to anyone. He nodded to Roy, who cut the feed. On the screens across the galaxy, the humans saw the message. They cheered. On the alien screens, the viewers were silent. They had never seen a species talk to the Synod like that. The Vex commander narrowed his eyes. The game had changed. The first contact was over. The real show was just beginning. The Vex commander on the big ship was very angry. He sat on his chair in the quiet bridge and looked at the screens. He saw the small human plane flying around his drones. The human pilot was fast and rude. She did not respect the power of the Synod. They do not know their place, the commander thought to his crew. They think they can play with us. I will show them the difference between a toy and a weapon. He stood up. His metal armor made a clicking sound. Prepare the landing craft, he ordered. Send a pacification force to the city below. Do not use the big guns yet. Go to the ground. Let them see us up close. Let them see that they cannot win. Down on Earth, the sun was starting to set. The city was busy. Cars were driving on the streets. People were walking home from work. Then the sky turned dark. It was not a cloud. It was 3 huge ships dropping from the Vindicator. These ships were black and shaped like arrows. They were huge, much bigger than any human airplane. They did not use wings to fly. They floated on anti-gravity engines. They landed in the center of the city. The ground shook hard. Cars stopped. Alarms began to ring all over the city. Asterisk woo, W-O. The sound was loud. Roy sat in the radar station. He watched the screens light up red. They are landing, Roy said. His voice was shaking a little bit, but he was typing fast. 3 ships. Right in the middle of the downtown area. Lee stood next to him. He looked at the map on the screen. They want to be seen, Lee said. They want us to panic. Lee picked up his radio. All units, move out, he said. Do not let them leave the landing zone. We fight them there? Outside the city in a hidden camp, a woman named Anne was putting on a helmet. And was a scientist, but today she was a soldier. She wore a protective vest and carried a rifle. She was not a general like Lee, and she was not a pilot like Kim. She was smart. She studied how things worked. She got into a truck with other soldiers. They drove fast toward the city. The dust kicked up behind them. In the city, the doors of the black alien ships opened. Ramps came down. Smoke poured out. The Vex soldiers marched out. They were tall, 7 feet high. They had shiny silver armor that reflected the city lights. Their faces were dark glass with red lights inside. They held long staffs that glowed green. The galactic stream showed this to the whole universe. Trillions of aliens watched. They expected the humans to run away. They expected the humans to hide in their houses, but the humans did not run. The streets emptied fast, yes. The police moved the people back. But the army was coming. And arrived with her team and set up a position behind a concrete wall. She peeked over the top. She looked at her scanner. It was a small tablet in her hand. Their armor is strong, and said to herself. But look at that air around them. She saw a faint blue light flickering around the Vex soldiers. It was a shield. The Vex leader raised his staff. He pointed it at a tank that was rolling down the street. A bolt of green energy shot out. It hit the tank. The tank melted like ice in a fire. The galaxy cheered on their screens. The Vex were strong. Lee watched from a command post nearby. His face was serious. Fire at will. He shouted. Human soldiers fired their guns. Asterisk, bang, bang, bang. The bullets flew at the Vex. The blue shield stopped the bullets. The bullets hit the blue light and fell to the ground. It looked like rain hitting a window. It is not working. A soldier shouted. The Vex commander on the ship laughed. See, he thought. Their metal sticks are useless. But Anne was watching her scanner very closely. She saw something strange. When the bullets hit the shield glowed brighter. But when a piece of rock, thrown by an explosion, hit the shield, it went through. Anne's eyes went wide. "Wait," she said. "The shield blocks energy. It blocks fast things that are hot. But the rock is just heavy and slow." She grabbed her radio. "Lee, this is Anne. Do not use lasers. Do not use electric shocks. Use heavy bullets. Use kinetic force. Throw things at them. The shields are tuned to stop energy, not heavy metal." Lee heard her voice. He trusted Anne. She was smart. He grabbed the radio. "All units, switch to high-caliber rounds. Use explosive rounds. Do not aim for the shields. Aim to push through them. Heavy fire, now!" The soldiers changed their guns. They brought out the big machine guns. They brought out the grenade launchers, asterisk, thump, 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 thump. The grenades flew through the air. They were heavy metal shells filled with explosives. They hit the blue shields. The shields tried to stop them, but the weight was too much. The grenades passed through the light and hit the Vex soldiers, asterisk, boom. Asterisk, the explosions knocked the Vex soldiers down. Their armor was dented. One soldier fell and did not get up. The galaxy went quiet. The chat room stopped. "How?" an alien typed. "Primitive weapons? Breaking shields?" On the ground, the fight changed. The humans saw that the aliens could be hurt. This made them brave. They did not just hide behind walls anymore. They moved. Lee watched the map. He saw the Vex soldiers standing in a straight line. It was a perfect formation. It was beautiful, but it was stupid. "They are too slow," Lee said. "They are like statues. Roy, tell the teams to swarm them. Don't fight fair. Hit them from the sides." Roy sent a message. "Swarm tactics. Go, go, go." Human soldiers ran through the buildings. They broke windows. They ran through alleys. They came at the Vex from all sides. The Vex soldiers tried to turn, but they were not used to this. In space battles, ships lined up and shot at each other. They did not hide. They did not sneak. A group of soldiers ran right up to a Vex giant. They were so close they could see their reflection in his armor. They fired their rifles point blank. The Vex swung his staff, but the humans were too small and too fast. They dodged. One soldier threw a metal net over the Vex's head. The Vex could not see. Another soldier shot his legs. The giant fell. The city was loud with the sound of war. Asterisk, boom, sir, ruck. Asterisk, suddenly, a loud roar came from the sky. It was Kim. She had landed to refuel, and now she was back. She was not in her small jet now. She was flying a heavy gunship. It was a big, ugly machine with guns on the sides. She flew low over the buildings. "Hello down there," Kim shouted over the radio. She saw a group of Vex soldiers hiding behind a force field generator. "Time to break your toys." She pressed a button. The guns on her ship spun around. Asterisk, Berert. A storm of metal shells flew out. They were huge bullets, the size of a human hand. They hit the ground and the Vex shields. The weight of the fire was too much. The shield generator shattered into pieces. Kim laughed. "Physics is on my side," she yelled. She pulled the ship up and flew away before the Vex could aim at her. And watch the destruction. She was taking notes on her tablet. She was scared, but her mind was working fast. "They rely on technology too much," she wrote. "When technology fails, they panic. Humans rely on instinct." In the center of the battle, a Vex captain looked around. His squad was gone. He was alone. Humans were coming from every direction. They were shouting. They were shooting. He had never seen a species fight like this. They did not care about the rules. They used the environment. They used dirt. They used noise. They used gravity. The captain tried to call for help. "Commander, send more ships? We cannot hold the line." On the Vindicator, the Vex commander watched his screen. He saw his troops falling. He saw the primitive humans winning. He stood up. His fists were clenched. "No," he said. "This is impossible. He looked at the Galactic stream ratings. They were higher than ever. The galaxy was amazed. They were watching the humans fight. They are enjoying this, the commander thought. They think it is a show? He turned to his weapons officer. Stop holding back, he said. If they want to fight, we will burn them. Prepare the sonic disruptor. Lee looked at the battlefield. The Vex were pulling back. They were leaving their dead behind. The humans were cheering. Do not let up, Lee said into the radio. Push them back to their ships. And keep scanning. Find a weak point in those ships. And looked at her screen. The alien ships were powering up. She saw a high-energy spike. It was not a shield. It was something else. Lee, and said, her voice worried, they are charging something big. I don't know what it is, but it looks dangerous. The sun had fully gone down now. The city was burning in places. The streetlights were broken. But the humans were standing tall. They had weapons that were old and simple, but they had heart. The galaxy watched, waiting to see what would happen next. The humans had won the first fight, but the Vex were not finished yet. The night was dark, but the city was bright with fire. The smell of smoke was everywhere. The humans had pushed the Vex soldiers back, but the alien ships still hovered in the sky. They looked like black ghosts against the stars. On the bridge of the Vindicator, the Vex commander was not calm anymore. He could not understand what was happening down there. His troops were losing. They were being beaten by creatures who used simple metal guns and explosives. They are animals, the commander thought. They do not fight with logic. They fight with anger. He looked at his tactical map. The humans were regrouping. They were getting ready to attack the landed ships again. The commander knew he had to stop them now. He did not want to destroy the city completely because the Synod wanted to study it, but he had to do something. He looked at a large red button on his console. It was for a weapon called the sonic disruptor. Activate the sonic emitter, the commander ordered. A crew member typed on the keyboard. It is ready, sir. It will send a frequency that targets the fear center of the brain. It works on 99% of known species. They will fall to the ground. They will be too scared to move. Do it, the commander said. Let the galaxy see them break. On the ground, Lee was organizing his men. They were hiding behind rubble and wrecked cars, and was nearby, checking her scanner. Roy was trying to fix the radio communications. Kim was flying above, watching for more enemy drones. Suddenly, a strange sound filled the air. It was not loud at first. It was a deep hum. It felt like the air was vibrating. It was a sound that you could feel in your teeth and in your bones. Then, the sound grew. It was a high-pitched screaming noise, but it was not coming from a throat. It came from the alien ship. It hit the whole city. In the galactic stream, the viewers leaned forward. They knew this weapon. They had seen it used many times. They knew what would happen next. The primitive creatures would start crying. They would drop their weapons. They would curl up on the ground and beg for the noise to stop. It was a weapon of total control. Lee grabbed his ears. It hurt. It felt like a nail was being driven into his brain. He saw his soldiers fall to their knees. They looked dizzy. The sound was trying to take over their minds. It was telling them to be afraid. It was telling them that they were small and weak. For a second, Lee felt cold. He felt a wave of panic wash over him. He wanted to hide, but then something strange happened. Lee's heart started to beat faster. The panic did not make him weak. It made him mad. The human brain is a strange thing. It is noisy. It is full of worries about money, about jobs, about family, about the future. It is never quiet. The alien weapon tried to find a single fear signal to amplify. But in a human brain, there was too much noise. The weapon couldn't find the fear. It just turned up the volume of the noise. Lee shook his head. He stood up straight. The pain in his head was terrible, but it felt like a migraine he had once before. He did not cower. He gritted his teeth. Stop that noise, Lee yelled. But his voice was small against the scream of the machine. Roy was on the ground, clutching his head. "Make it stop!" he shouted. "It hurts," and looked at her tablet. The lines on the screen were going crazy. "The frequency!" she shouted over the noise. "It doesn't match our brain waves. It is clashing with them. It is causing a feedback loop. It is not stopping us, it is just making us angry." She was right. The soldiers who were on their knees started to stand up. Their faces were red. Veins popped out on their necks. The weapon was meant to paralyze them with fear, but the humans were so annoyed that they were forgetting their fear. They were just getting furious. In the sky, Kim felt the vibration in her cockpit. Her teeth rattled. The headache was instant and blinding. "You think this is loud?" Kim screamed at the alien ship. She was talking to herself, but she was screaming loud. "I have 3 kids. I know what loud is." She pushed the throttle forward. She didn't run away from the sound. She flew toward it. On the ground, the Vex soldiers were waiting. They were standing behind their energy shields, watching the humans. They expected to see them lying on the ground. They expected to see them shaking. Instead, they saw the humans stand up. The humans started to roar. It was not a roar of victory. It was a roar of pure rage. The soldiers screamed. It was a collective scream from thousands of throats. They drowned out the alien noise with their own voices. Lee pulled his pistol. "Charge!" he shouted. "Let's make them shut up." The humans ran. They didn't run like soldiers in a movie. They ran like a mob of angry parents protecting their children. They ran with their eyes wide and their mouths open. They didn't care about the bullets. They just wanted the noise to stop. The Vex soldiers stepped back. They had never seen this behavior. On their planets, when the sonic disruptor was used, everyone stopped fighting. Even the most dangerous beasts would go to sleep. But these humans, they were getting faster. The pain seemed to give them energy. Roy grabbed a large grenade launcher. He fired it wildly. He didn't aim very well, but he didn't need to. The wall of humans was moving forward. The grenade hit a Vex shield. The shield flickered and failed. Anne watched the Vex body language. "Look at them," she said. "They are confused. They are scared of us." The Vex captain on the ground raised his staff to fire, but a human soldier tackled him. The human was not using a fancy move. He just threw his body at the alien. They both fell to the ground. The human hit the alien's metal helmet with his fist. Over and over. The metal dented. The Vex captain was terrified. This creature felt no pain from the sound. It only felt hate. In the Galactic stream, the chat rooms exploded. "They are resisting? How? The frequency should melt their minds." "They are not melting. They are winning." The ratings for the stream went higher than ever before. The galaxy was witnessing something impossible. A species that could not be controlled by fear. In the air, Kim flew her jet straight at the source of the sound. It was a large projector on the bottom of the main alien ship. The sound waves were shaking her plane apart. Warning lights were flashing in her cockpit. Asterisk ding. Ding, ding. Asterisk, "I'm coming for you." Kim yelled. She aimed her guns. She fired every bullet she had left. The tracer rounds lit up the night sky. They sparked against the alien ship's hull. The alien ship had strong shields, but the sonic weapon was using a lot of power. The shields were weak on the bottom. Asterisk kaboom. Asterisk, one of Kim's bullets hit the main projector. The machine exploded. The blue light on it died. The screaming noise cut off instantly. Silence rushed back into the city. It was so sudden that it hurt their ears in a different way. The humans stopped running. They stood there, panting. Their heads were still pounding, but the horrible noise was gone. They looked up at the alien ship. They did not look relieved. They looked like they were just getting started. Lee lowered his weapon. He wiped sweat from his face. He looked at the Vex soldiers in front of him. The aliens were looking at each other. They were backing away toward their ships. They were afraid. Lee smiled. It was not a nice smile. It was the smile of a predator. Is that all you have? Lee shouted at the aliens. Is that your best trick? The Vex commander on the ship sat back in his chair. He watched the humans on the screen. He saw their faces. He saw the anger in their eyes. He realized that he could not beat them with fear. You cannot scare something that is already crazy. They are defective, the commander thought. But they are dangerous defects. He turned to his crew. Recall the ground forces, he said. We cannot fight them on the ground. They are too unpredictable. We must go to the sky. We must use the big guns. The Vex soldiers ran back to their black ships. The humans let them go. They didn't chase them this time. They just watched. They stood in the smoke and the fire, battered but not broken. The galaxy watched them, and for the first time, the viewers did not see weak primitives. They saw a species that refused to stay down. They saw the indomitable human spirit. The Vex soldiers ran back to their black ships as fast as their metal legs could carry them. They were confused and scared. They jumped into the landing ramps and the doors closed quickly. The engines of the black ships roared to life. Blue fire came out of the bottoms and the ships began to lift off the ground. They wanted to leave. They wanted to go back to the safety of the big silver ship in the sky, on the bridge of the Vindicator. The Vex commander was furious. He had never been beaten by a primitive army before. He sat in his chair and his hands gripped the armrests until they bent. Prepare the main cannon, the commander ordered. Target the city center. We will destroy them from orbit. He sent a signal to the computer. It was a complex code that would activate the glassing sequence. This weapon would burn the entire city in minutes. It was the weapon they used on planets that were too much trouble. In the radar station, Roy was sweating. He was typing as fast as he could on 3 different keyboards at once. He saw the signal coming from the alien ship. It was a message to the big gun. Lee, Roy shouted into his radio. They are calling in a strike? A big one. They are going to burn the city. Lee stood on the battlefield. The smoke was still thick. He could hear the alien ships lifting off. He looked at the sky. He knew they didn't have much time. Can you stop the signal? Lee asked. I am trying, Roy yelled. Their code is perfect. It is math, but I am using garbage. Roy pressed the enter key hard. He had written a virus that was not smart. It was just noisy. It sent millions of random signals to the alien ship. It was like trying to have a conversation. While 1,000 people were screaming in your ear, the Vex ship computer received the data. It tried to read it. It tried to organize it. But the data made no sense. It was just junk. The computer froze. It was too logical to handle human chaos. The signal to the main gun stopped. In the sky, the Vex commander watched his screen. Why is the cannon not firing? He thought. Fix it. But the crew could not fix it. The humans were jamming them. Lee saw the black ships rising. They were slow. They were heavy. They were waiting for the signal to leave, but the jamming was confusing their navigation systems too. They are stuck, and shouted. She pointed at the nearest ship. It was hovering just above the buildings, rocking back and forth. It looked confused. Lee saw his chance. He looked at his tired soldiers. They were covered in dirt and soot, but they were still standing. They had rifles, grenade launchers, and heavy trucks. They did not have high-tech weapons, but they had muscles. Do not let them leave. Lee shouted. Bring them down. The humans did something the aliens did not expect. They did not shoot at the ships to destroy them. They shot at the ships to catch them. Soldiers fired grappling hooks. The hooks shot up and grabbed onto the landing skids of the hovering ships. They used ropes and thick cables. On the ground, big military trucks drove toward the cables. Soldiers hooked the cables to the trucks. Pull! Lee screamed. The drivers of the trucks hit the gas. The engines roared. The tires spun in the dirt, then grabbed the road. The trucks pulled on the cables. Inside the hovering alien ship, the pilot was panicked. We are losing power to the thrusters, he shouted. Something is pulling us down? Cut the cables. The Vex captain on the ground radioed. But the humans were too fast. They had too many hooks. Kim was flying her gunship overhead. She saw the alien ship struggling against the trucks. It looked like a giant fish on a fishing line. Hold on tight, Kim said to herself. She aimed her guns at the engines of the alien ship. She did not fire to destroy. She fired to damage. Asterisk, bang, bang, bang. Sparks flew from the engine. The alien ship lost its lift. With a loud crunch, the alien ship was pulled down. It hit the top of an office building and slid down, crashing into the street. Dust and glass flew everywhere. The other two ships tried to fly higher, but the humans had swarmed them too. Roy had hacked their navigation so badly that they were flying in circles. Helicopters from the human army flew up next to them. Soldiers leaned out of the helicopters and threw nets over the alien cockpits. So they could not see, Lee ran toward the crashed ship. The Vex inside were trying to get out through the back door. They were shooting their green lasers wildly. Swarm them! Lee ordered. And ran with a team. They didn't use fancy tactics. They just threw smoke grenades. Gray smoke filled the street. The Vex, who used technology to see, were blind. Their sensors could not see through the thick human smoke. The humans, however, could see well enough. They knew the streets. They moved through the smoke like ghosts. They climbed up the side of the crashed ship. They used explosive charges to blow the doors open. Asterisk, boom. Asterisk, the door fell off. Inside, the Vex crew waited. They were tall and scary, but they were trapped. The humans rushed in. It was a close-quarters fight. The Vex tried to use their long staffs, but there was no room to swing them. The humans used knives and rifles. They used their hands. It was brutal and messy. In the galactic stream, the viewers were horrified. They are boarding? One alien typed. They are boarding a synod vessel? It is suicide. Another said. The air inside might be poison. The gravity might crush them. But the humans were fine. They wore simple masks. They fought hard. In less than 10 minutes, the alien ship was silent. The humans had captured it. On the bridge of the Vindicator, the Vex commander felt fear for the first time. He watched the screen. He saw his soldiers being dragged out of the crashed ship by the humans. He saw the humans tying them up with zip ties. They have our people, the second-in-command thought. And they have our technology. Lee walked onto the bridge of the crashed alien ship. It was a mess of sparks and leaking fluids. And followed him. She looked at the panels. She didn't touch them yet. She just looked. Roy, get over here, Lee said into the radio. Bring your computer. We need to know everything this ship knows. A few minutes later, Roy ran in. He was out of breath. He looked at the alien controls. It was amazing. It was smooth and glowing. Can you fly it? Lee asked. Roy sat in the captain's chair. It was too big for him. He touched the console. It lit up. I don't know how to fly it, Roy said. But the computer thinks I am the captain now. I just gave it a very strong command. Outside, the two remaining alien ships stopped trying to run. They were surrounded by human tanks and jets. The humans had captured their friends, and the aliens knew that if they fought, the humans would destroy them. The aliens lowered their landing gear and landed peacefully. They surrendered. The city was quiet again. The fires were still burning, but the shooting had stopped. Lee stood on the ramp of the crashed ship. He looked up at the sky. The big silver Vindicator was still there. It was watching. We have their ships, and said, standing next to Lee. We have their crews. What do we do with the big one? Lee looked at the camera that was broadcasting to the galaxy. He knew they were watching. We don't wait for them to attack again, Lee said. We take the fight to them. Kim's voice came over the radio. Lee, I see the big ship. It is powering up its engines. I think they are trying to run. Lee smiled coldly. Oh no, he said. They don't get to run. Not after what they did. He turned to his men. Get these ships ready, he ordered. We are going to make them fly. And we are going to go up there. The big silver ship, the Vindicator, hung in the sky like a dark moon. It did not fire its weapons anymore. It did not send down more troops. It just watched. The Vex commander up in the main ship was looking at his screens. He saw that his ground forces were gone. He saw that his ships were captured. He felt a cold feeling in his chest, which was strange for a machine creature. Down on the ground, inside one of the crashed black ships, the lights flickered. Lee walked into the main room. The ship was damaged and smoke floated in the air. Anne and Roy were with him. They had found the leader of the ground troops. He was a tall Vex, but his armor was broken. He sat in a chair, guarded by human soldiers with rifles. Lee pulled up a box and sat in front of the alien. He did not shout. He did not threaten. He just looked at the Vex and held up a small device. It translated the alien's thoughts into words. "Speak," and said, "The commander wants to talk to you." The Vex looked at Lee. Its red eyes were dim. "You are primitives," the Vex said through the machine. "You are weak. Your technology is garbage. Why did you not surrender? We played the sound. We showed you the light. You should have bowed." Lee leaned forward. "We don't bow," Lee said. "And your technology is fancy, I give you that. But it is fragile. When it broke, you didn't know what to do. We are used to things breaking. We know how to fix them. Or we just hit them until they work again." The Vex shook its head. "You are illogical. You fight even when you cannot win. You hurt yourselves to hurt us. We have never seen a species like you." Roy spoke up from the side. He was typing on the alien computer. "Hey, Lee," Roy said. "They were live streaming this whole thing? The whole galaxy is watching. Do you want to say something to them?" Lee looked at the small camera on the alien's console. It had a red light, meaning it was still broadcasting to the galactic stream. He knew that trillions of aliens were watching this room. They were waiting to see the humans eat the alien or maybe kill him. Lee stood up. He straightened his uniform. He looked directly into the camera lens. "I am Lee of Earth," he said. "We captured your soldiers. We took your ships. We are still here. We are still breathing." The Vex commander looked at the camera too. For the first time, the alien asked a question that was not in order. "What are you?" the Vex asked. It was a question of fear. It was a question that the whole galaxy wanted to know. How could these soft, weak creatures defeat the mighty Vex? Lee smiled. It was a small smile, but it was very confident. "We are Earth," Lee said. "And next time? Make an appointment." He nodded to the camera. Roy turned it off. In the silence of the room, the Vex slumped down. It knew it was over. The humans were not just strong. They were dangerous because they were unpredictable. Far away. In the center of the galaxy, the Grand Galactic Synod watched the feed cut out. The council members sat in a big circle. They were powerful beings. They had destroyed worlds without a second thought. But now they were quiet. One of the council members stood up. He was a tall, thin being with purple skin. "The Vex failed," he said. "The Vex are strong. But these humans, they are crazy. They do not follow the laws of war," another member said. "They do not fear death. They adapt too fast. They use tactics that are rude and savage. We must put a mark on their star chart," the leader of the Synod said. He typed a command into the main computer. He selected the Sol system, Earth's home. He selected a specific warning label. The label was bright red. It read, * quarantine zone, do not engage. *, why not just destroy them? A young member asked. "Send a big fleet? Burn the rock." The leader shook his head. "If we send a fleet, we will lose it," he said. "Look at them. They enjoy the fight. They learn from it. If we poke them, they will only get stronger. And one day they will come here. Let them stay on their planet. Let them rot. But do not touch them." The galaxy watched the label appear on the star maps. The stream ended, but the feeling of amazement did not go away. The legend of Earth had begun, weeks passed. The big Vex ship had turned around and flown away. They left Earth alone. The humans were left with the crashed ships and the damaged city. But humans do not stay down for long. The city was rebuilt quickly. Construction crews worked day and night. But the most interesting work was happening at the military base. Anne and Roy were standing next to one of the captured Vex ships. It was black and smooth, but now it looked different. The humans had fixed it. Lee walked up to them. He looked at the ship. It was strange. The Vex had used sleek buttons and touchscreens, but the humans had covered them. "What have you done?" Lee asked. "We made it better," Roy said proudly. The Vex controls were too sensitive. If you touched them wrong, the ship would crash. So we took them out. Roy pointed to the cockpit. We welded a steering wheel from a truck onto the console. We added pedals from a tank. We replaced the fancy alien engine with a modified jet engine. "It's loud and it shakes a lot, but it goes faster now," and laughed. "We also added guns," she said. "Lots of guns. The Vex didn't have enough guns on this thing. It was built for show. Now it is built for war." They looked at the ship. It looked like a monster. It was a mix of alien high-tech metal and human industrial strength. It had stickers on the side. One sticker had a picture of an Earth flag. Another had a drawing of a fist. Suddenly the engine roared to life. Asterisk vroom. It sounded like a dragon waking up. The cockpit opened and Kim climbed out. She was wearing her pilot's helmet. She jumped down to the ground. "How does it fly?" Lee asked. Kim wiped grease from her cheek. "It flies angry," she said with a big smile. "The steering is heavy, but I like it. It feels like me." She walked over to them and looked up at the sky. It was a clear night. The stars were shining bright. "They're watching us right now, aren't they?" Kim asked. "Yes," Lee said. "They are watching? They are afraid to come back." "Good," Kim said. "Let them be afraid." Roy put his hand on the ship's metal hull. It was warm from the engine. "So what do we do now?" he asked. "We have the ships. We have the tech." Lee looked at his team. He looked at Anne, the scientist. He looked at Roy, the hacker. He looked at Kim, the pilot. They were tired, but their eyes were bright. They were not thinking about defense anymore. They were thinking about what was next. "We fix them," Lee said. "We learn how they work. Then we turn them around." He pointed a finger up toward the blackness of space, up toward the galaxy that thought they were weak. "We don't wait for them to come back," Lee said. "We go to them. We will explore. We will visit the stars. And if anyone gives us trouble," he paused and grinned, "we'll just make an appointment." The four of them stood there, looking up at the infinite universe. The galaxy had watched them in amazement. But the galaxy had no idea what was coming. The humans were coming. And they were bringing their steering wheels, their big guns, and their stubborn attitude with them. The story of Earth was over. The story of humanity among the stars was just beginning.